What's up, guys? It's Classic here. So, today we're going to be creating a liquid button. We're going to have a juice, fill up a button container. We're going to animate it. We're going to create and animate it in Figma. This is something I've always had in my head. I'm someone who is passionate about interaction, animation, micro interaction, and stuff like that. So, I just use this project as an excuse to actually execute this stuff I've always had in my head. And I had few of my colleagues online ask me for a tutorial. So, that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. I hope you learn the principles behind this and maybe, translate the idea into other projects and other stuffs that you might have. So let's get right into it.
So yeah, let's call this juicy button. Okay. So yeah, juicy button. So we're going to add auto layout to it and add a fill color. The first color for this one is going to be green. Not really save the color system for this one. Yeah. So we're going to get started with it. So in this course, we're going to in this video, we're going to be learning the animation, how the animation was done, and you're going to be learning creating the assets and the animation basically. Yeah, and there are some principles that within it, so we're going to get started with that. So first of all, I want to create the waves, like the ripples that we're going to be using. So yeah, so I'm going to use a triangle. I'm going to reduce the height eventually, but in the original one that I did not use a triangle. I just used a pen tool to actually get it done. But for the sake of people who are not comfortable with the pen tool, we're going to be using the triangle to actually get it done. So along the line, it's going to require you refining things. So I'm just going to select everything and I'm going to evenly distribute them. And I'm going to, okay, this stuff is, I'm going to shrink their top. Okay, I'm going to union them so that we can have a wholesome stuff. And I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to flatten the layers because I want to be able to edit the height. Why? Because we need it to comfortably cover the whole button size. So yeah. So all right, now that we've done this, we're going to add corner radius and I'm going to increase this a bit because I want it to feel natural. And even this, I think I might want to extend it a bit. Yeah. Let me smoothen the corners. Yeah. Let me see. Drag this down a bit. Yes. So now that we've gotten this, so this is going to be our wave. You see it's already waving. So I'm going to add so it's going to be like a pineapple juice. So this is going to be our juice. So add a bit of realism to it. I'm going to be adding effects. So an inner shadow, and the inner shadow is going to be lighter. So I'm going to take it towards the lighter. So you're looking at it now, it's giving it a bit of 3D effect. And yeah, I'm going to reduce the white to 3, and I'm going to increase the lightness of. So yeah, so it's going to be like this. So to make it to make the animation more real, so I'm going to have to duplicate it, and the one at the back I'm going to darken the yellow effect a bit, and I might even take it towards orange a bit so that it could be more vibrant, like you see. So yeah, so the next step is to create the bubbles. I'm just going to do those ones now. So let's create the bubble so that it can be more real. So creating the bubble, I have just, as you can see, I've brought in the circle, and we're going to add inner shadow. We're going to first of all reduce the opacity of the circle. We're going to make it light, and we're going to reduce the opacity of the circle because we need it to be real. And in the effect, so we're going to add an inner shadow, and the inner shadow has to be um okay. We're going to okay, this one is we're going to add an inner shadow, and the inner shadow has to be white to make it more real. And yeah, to make it more real, to show that okay, it's more like a bubble because bubbles are visible. So what else? What else? Okay, I'm going to reduce the opacity for this, and the blur for this, I'm going to take it to 2. Okay, I'm going to reduce the Y axis to 2. So yeah, I'm going to make this more white so that it's a bit more visible for the eyes to see. All right, so now we have our bubble. I'm going to duplicate this bubble. So as you can see, the bubbles are I'm going to give them different sizes. Right. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm going to be taking um I'm going to first take in the waves into the button. And the button is in auto layout, so you must expect it to have this stuff. So I'm going to do add absolute position into it, and I'm going to clip the content inside it. So I'm going to select the both of them. Okay, I'm going to select one first. The lighter one should always be at the front though. The why the darker one should be behind. So this is the lighter one and it's in front, and I'm going to centralize it. Not centralize. I'm going to take it to the top so that it can completely cover. And I'm going to do the same for the other one there. So just to make sure that they can cover completely, which is actually good for us. So I'm going to bring them down like their y-axis. Just take your cursor here and drag. This way you can change the the vertical the vertical positioning of the object. So now that I've done this, let me just keep this here. I want to show you how the animation works. So for the lighter one, which is the one at the front, I'm going to drag it. I'm going to use the x-axis to drag it horizontally to the edge. So as you can see, it's at the edge. So I'm going to put it here, okay? Because the animation works this way. While it's at the edge here, in the next frame, it's going to be at this other way. You understand? So that from one frame to another, it's just going to move and it's going to give the illusion of the waving effect. So in this frame, it's going to be here, while the one at the back is going to be the opposite way. You understand? Let me just close this one. The one at the back will have to be the opposite way. You understand? So yeah. So now that we have these two here, that works. So I'm going to bring in my bubbles, and of course the bubble will still do the same thing. So I'm going to do absolute positioning, and I'm going to take the bubble to the top. So I'm going to drag the bubble in. Yeah. So the juice has to come to the top. So with absolute positioning, for it to come to the top, you have to like drag them to the downside here. You understand? So that you don't confuse yourself. So I need the bubble to be on top of the text. So I have to take the bubble downwards. So now the bubble is at the top of the text. So if you see the effects now, because the bubble is transparent and we added like, inner shadow, it's going to be giving it that, you know, effect of it actually being a bubble, because anything behind the bubble should be visible because of the translucent nature of the bubble. So yeah. So I'm not going to just include these other two bubbles because I already have this one. So I'm just going to duplicate it around, I'm going to just duplicate it around. How many bubbles do I need? Okay, 6 should be fine. So I'm just going to like give them different sizes because all bubbles cannot be the same size. So yeah, just going to give them like different sizes for a bit more realistic approach. So yeah, so now we have the bubble here already. So I'm going to, so since this is like the starting, okay, I think we have just one more to pick. Let's go for the ingredients. So this pineapple, I'm just going to pick just this pineapple here that I used in this. So I'm going to include a pineapple inside. Haha, interesting. Let me just cover this up. So that, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to give it absolute. Okay. I'm going to give it absolute positioning. I'm going to bring it to the center. So I'm going to shrink this guy. And yeah, I'm going to shrink this guy. I'm going to just position it here. And I'm going to rotate it. We want everything to be looking a bit more real. Everything should not just be facing one particular direction. So I'm going to just like, just keep the, I'm going to just keep them here. All right, so how many pineapples do we have? We have like 5 pineapples, so that's fine. I'm going to reduce this bubble actually. So yeah, so far so good. This is looking really fine, but that's not why we're here. We're here for animation. All right, so I'm going to like, change the vertical axis of everything here except, let me just change so the vertical axis, I'm going to just use the Y and just drag it down. So it's under here, and I'm going to select everything here also. I'm going to drag them down a bit. In animation, right? If I have something here and in the next frame I want it to be here, and I say, okay, it should take like 300 milliseconds for it to get from here to here, it's going to move slower from here to here compared to when I take it downwards at this particular position. At this particular position, it's going to move faster, like so that it can catch up within that time. So you have to make sure that your elements are not pushed so downwards here. You have to just keep them here. You understand? You have to keep them there. Okay. Just drag it a bit up here. Oh, all right. Oh, tough. All right. Okay. I feel that it's fine. All right. So now let us get on to the real business. Let's time to animate. So I'm going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to select the both of them. And I'm going to go to prototype. Okay, not prototype first. I'm going to create like component set. So when you want to create like interactive components, like when you want to create like micro interactions, you'll be using component set a lot because those things they'll be communicating with each other within that frame so that you can reuse them across different you're going to be using them at different points in your project. So if you know that there's an animation that or there's an effect that you're going to be reusing and reusing, you just have to create a component out of it. And doing that, you'll be needing a component set for that. So I'm going to create a component set and yeah, it's time to prototype. So the animation trigger is hover. So it's going to we're going to put it in like hover while hovering. So now what's going to happen when we hover? Number one, this button has to okay, before then, let's just start bringing all our guys out. So let's break out these ripples first. We're going to, bring them out. And remember what I said, we have to change our position. So the one at the front, which is the lightest, initially it has its end at this edge. So we have to switch it to this other end. You understand? So we're going to switch it to this other end. As you can see, look at it. It's at this other end. So that's what we're going to do. And this other guy, which is already at this other end, we have to take him to the other side. You understand? Let's close this guy up so that we can see the other guy properly. So this guy we have to like take it to this other end like you get. So yeah. So for this guy now we have to this button we have to give it a color. Yeah, let's look for like something dark yellow. So this works. So now let us bring in our other elements. So I'm going to select all of them. You know, for you to like so you don't be struggling. You just go to this panel. You tap the first one. Then you look for where the last one ended, and you hold Shift and click, and so you select everything. And we're going to change the vertical axis. So we're going to bring all of them here. So why they are here, this is what I want to do so that it can be a bit more realistic because, okay, before then, Sha, let me just, let me show you what it looks like now. So, um, this is our button. Let us round the corners. Okay, let's round the corners. Okay, 20. Okay, that works. Smoothing it out. Okay, so let's take this out. Okay, all right. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to increase the size so that we can visibly see what's going on. So yeah, prototype. Let's prototype this. All right. Okay, it's loading. All right, can you see that? Can you see it? All right, you see the speed, right? What are those? It's not smooth like the way it's moving, like it's moving too fast. And one thing about animation is that when you're creating an animation, it has to work like it has to work well, it has to move well like the way it ought to be. You understand? Whatever thing you are trying to animate, animation you are trying to like mimic a real life, a real life motion or real life events, it has to move and work like the way it is like in real life for it to actually like function well. But anyways, we actually like get the gist. Our animation is like working well. So let's just go back and start refining things to how they ought to be. Okay, this is not it. This is what we're working with. All right, so let's make it more real. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be changing the positions of these things. Number one, I'm going to rotate this guy. Okay, I'm going to rotate this guy. I'm going to rotate this guy. I'm going to like switch their position. And for these ones now, I think I need them to be out of the picture. I don't want them to be in the picture, but yeah, they're just going to be there, but I don't need them like inside the picture. I'm just going to leave only the bubble. So why I'm rotating them is the fact that you're going to see how the animation is going to work now that I'm rotating them. And for these bubbles now, I'm going to still rotating them won't really change much. So I'm going to just be changing their positioning. You understand? I'm just going to be changing their positioning. Yeah, I'm just going to be changing their positioning. Just going to be changing their positioning a bit so that you will notice a bit of you're just going to notice like slight dynamic like movement with the bubbles. So I'm going to select all the pineapples and I'm going to take them out of the picture using the y-axis. Like, I'm going to take them up. So I'm going to restructure my bubbles, I'm going to restructure my bubbles. And now let us work on the timing. So while hovering, it's just like, 800 and it's looking fast. Okay, another thing that we can use to like, adjust this, like I told you when I was talking about like the distance, like from here to here the last time, looking at this stuff we created is very long. Okay, so let us try to, in this second part, let us try to, instead of taking them to the extreme, let's just try to bring them to the middle a bit. So on the X side, I'm going to do the light one first. Okay, okay, I'm just going to drag it a bit. Let me lock this guy out. Just going to select only this guy, and I'm going to try to bring him to the middle a bit. Then this other one, let me close this one. I'm going to try to bring him to the middle a bit too, so that why I'm doing this is so that the point you're just going to notice how like slowly it's going to move a bit now. Let me see. Like, did you notice it? It's a bit like it's not moving. Let me open this guy up because it's not selecting. It's moving a bit slower now because of it's moving a bit slower now because we have shortened the distance of each. And if by any chance I just put center, like let it be centered, and I go this other way and let it be centered, right? It's going to be closer. To move from this edge to this center is going to be shorter than moving from this edge to this end. You understand? And that's going to like slow it down a bit. So let's see how it looks like. Can you see how slower it has become? And now to even slow it down the more, we have to work on the timing here. So I'm going to use 1200. Okay, yeah. You see, you see. So yeah, along the line, you just have to like tweak things. You just have to like tweak things a bit. Because my bubbles are looking too big, so I'm going to like reducing them. Of course, moving from one frame to another, they are going to look like they shrunk a bit. So I'm going to be understanding that. I'm going to like shrink them a bit and yeah, okay. Are you seeing it? So everything is smooth. You understand? So basically, this is how this button was created. So along the line, you're going to just like refine yours and play around with it. The funny part of the story is that this concept does not only just work for buttons. Like you can basically animate like a lot of things with this. I've done like different before embarking on this particular one. I have done other stuff like trying to like mimic liquid and stuff like that. I have done a button that I've done a button that it's like bubbles, like it's just bubbles because it's more like a laundry website. So if you hover around it, the bubbles just like the ladder, more like soap ladder, it just gathers around the button and stuff like that, making the button feel like 3D. So if we go into this project, so that's basically how it was created. So if we go into this project now, we're going to see the various buttons I created using this effect. So for this one, we have like the pineapple. If you look inside, you're going to see like tiny, tiny elements. You see how if you notice mine is well spaced. So like my ripples are not so much like the ones I just illustrated. So you can actually like work on your ripples, making sure that they are not so like maybe together kind of. So this is like the pineapple, right? Pineapple filling. This is celery filling. These are like the products that the brand sells. So this is like the tiger nut. Yeah. So this is tiger nut. You notice you look within it, you're going to be seeing coconut, dates, and tiger nuts because that's how like they are made. So yeah, basically that's that. So yeah, we've come to the end of this. Thank you very much. Um, like and subscribe. I hope I have like more time to create interesting stuff like this in the future. See you in another video.